Hello, and welcome to another weekly update with Ready Communities. My name is Chad Renando.
And I'm Kerry Grace. And before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians, elders past and present.
And we are here in Grafton this week in person. It's been an incredible, amazing full week. We're actually also in our new office, thankfully donated to us for the time of the Ready Grafton project. As you can see, our banner in the background, a nice big office, which is slowly filling up with banners and paper on the walls. It's very exciting.
It is very exciting.
That's right. It has been a pretty big week. So this week we met with the MP and got some support there.
Yeah, Richie Williamson is the state MP in this electorate. We had a great chat with Richie about, among other things, Coffs Harbour Airport and the extraordinary rates that it's currently costing to get in. So we talk about the regional tax now and then as well, which is something that we advocate for around regions to make things more accessible for people in regional communities.
And that is something we find across political parties. Everybody acknowledges that there is a challenge, there's a need, and how do we collectively work together to get there, even if there may be a little bit of disagreement at times on how we do that. But we know we need to work together to get to those outcomes. But the other big thing that we had this week was StartSomeGood came in for both Grafton and Kempsey, where we were last year. We had amazing 2 days and a couple of sessions bringing the social entrepreneurs together to say, what could this look like for our region?
Yeah, it was really good. So both Piers and Katie travelled to Grafton. We had a great cohort met in Grafton and very, as is our learning in regional communities, it doesn't always necessarily start with a massive turnout of people. So we had about 5 people turn out to this readiness event. And we were really excited about that because each of them is going to bring back 2 to 3 people to the next event now. And as we know throughout our work, as many of you would as well in regional Australia, language like social impact, social enterprise, it's just not something that regional Australians speak to. So when a funding stream's announced or when support's available for social enterprise, regional people could completely overlook it. And we proved that again when we delivered this excellent workshop during the week. And also once people heard about it, they were really engaged. Kempsey last year, we spent pretty much the year educating people about what social impact and social enterprise is. And we had a great turnout. So with the support of FRRR, StartSomeGood will be delivering their Good Hustle program in Kempsey, and we've got a really good delegation of cohorts enrolling in that.
Yeah, it was great to spend time again with Pierce and Katie and actually hear firsthand from them what they thought of the whole process.
Yeah, we came to Grafton yesterday to hold a social enterprise workshop. For us, it was really about connecting with the community, seeing who turned up, seeing what their motivation was, and seeing how we could continue to build their confidence, their interest in the area. It was great to see such a mix of community members coming along and seeing some really different perspectives on what's needed in Grafton. And yeah, we're excited to see what happens over the next 18 to 24 months here and seeing how StartSomeGood can fit into that.
When you get out of the city and you get into regional communities, I think one of the really good things is seeing the networks and meeting the disparate groups that come together with common purpose. And that is so much more clear and easy to connect with in these regional communities.
StartSomeGood does a lot of our work online, and a place-based approach is what we see as a really important step in order to make it more tangible and make our content a lot more useful, especially in regional areas. So looking at some hybrid models where we can deliver content that's available for everyone and make sure everyone actually gets it, and making sure there's also those local connections and we can see action happening on the ground in the regions. And being applied straight from the resources that we're sharing. So that's just one area, but I guess that's the first step to see what regions actually want from us too.
Social enterprise can often be about process and defining metrics and all this stuff, but ultimately it's incredibly human. So getting out and being with people and seeing their experience and connecting personally, you can't beat it.
Really made me excited to see alumni, which Start Some Good has been represented at every one of the Social Impact in the Regions conferences. And as we've hypothesised through the years, haven't we, Ted, that the alumni would be interested to come to the regional communities that we're working in? It's exactly what Start Some Good did.
That's right. We do ask people that come to our conference, look, if you want to return at least once, and we figure we have 300 people at a conference. If half of those say yes, that's 150 people divided in 12 months. That's activation for the community to get that boundary spanning, new ideas coming in. And the fact that they're running a program in Kempsey in year two really is just validating the model. That's very exciting.
It is.
And this week we also had a massive day yesterday with a big celebration with over 700 young people.
Oh, it was so exciting. And I'd say, I mean, like we lifted a couple of things. I'd rather say we observed a massive, exciting day there. But kudos to you, Dalaigur Pre-School, your team, Deb, and everybody that was there. It was such a beautiful day. And the contrast for me was last time I was at Kempsey Race Course, I was observing 700 really angry people shaking their fists about youth crime with I mean very little pathway forward and ways for community to engage. Yesterday we went to exactly the same venue and saw 750 children of the Kempsey community with the adults in that community just creating activities so they could have a really beautiful experience. And it was such a nice day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was incredible. And you talk about contrast. For me, there's a lot of top of mind stuff going on LinkedIn about Australia's position in the global innovation rankings, and how are we supporting our innovation ecosystem? How are we developing the talent? At the same time, talking to some of those people that are supporting young people, saying we need more support, and the connection between the different areas from people just coming out of school to supporting for youth workers to after school care. And so it's almost like this dichotomy for me of being in community, practically solving the things that will lead to those other things that quite often people don't connect. And that's really the value of this place-based work we do, is really that intersection of economic development, community development, bringing those two worlds together.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, what I was thinking about yesterday was how we can miss opportunities when we come together just around one thing, like that day with youth crime. It would have been so easy to integrate all of those services that were represented yesterday and give people a pathway rather than just be angry. I think a lot about community politics, and when there is something like a natural disaster in a community or pointy issue, it's easy to just get angry, and then it just that tears the scab off old hurts that can live in community. I think for an investment point of view, if you're investing in social impact, it's really important to realize not only the logical components of regional communities being different, but if you can come to social impact in the regions and experience it. Other investors have said to us, we logically knew it was different, but we didn't really experience it until we sat with those regional change makers. We have to remember that some of those people that are creating change in community might have gone to kindergarten together, and there could be factions that have existed for generations. So it's very difficult to then say to them, well, why don't you just work together? Because it's not always possible in small communities. And simultaneously, we need to, as change makers, find ways to create spaces where people can come together, and they don't have to be best friends, but there are ways to get people to come together and just find those solutions together.
That's right. And last week we did kind of hint at talking a little bit about community politics this week. And that is kind of the point that we did want to make, is that, sometimes somebody can say something, have a different view. And in that moment, as Carrie said, kind of really wrestle with it. But that overarching goal, whatever that thing is that we're trying to achieve, and quite often an event or something to aspire to, or to overcome something like fire floods, really kind of brings those people together to overcome
I
them.
think that's why we talk more about working towards aspiration as opposed to working towards solving problems. So everything changes when there's a natural disaster or a pandemic. We saw that happen. But we need to encourage people to work towards, what is the aspiration in the community? What do we actually want? And just seeing that youth event yesterday, it reminded me people that were at that event really wanted young people to have good lives. Interestingly, at the Law and Order meeting, people wanted exactly the same thing, but it came through a totally different lens. We see community politics in every single community that we work in. I'm not immune to it. I've lived in a small community. I've had to turn my shopping trolley around to avoid conflict in places. But I just think it's so important that within a community, we're aware of it. With an external to a community, we're also aware of it, and what can arise as a result of funding decisions, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And so speaking of coming together, the Social Impact in the Regions Conference, first week of September, is also coming together. We're just workshopping the program in our office today. It's looking very exciting. And what I would say, as the program starts to mature, which we'll be doing another podcast on this coming up, we do have our superhero themes that are coming through, walking you through the hero's journey, but also very practical outcomes. If you come to this and if you invest in your time and effort, energy, and treasures to come here, I can almost guarantee you, based on the program, you are going to get more than what you invest out of it, because we're going to build in that whole premise on not only what you can give, but also what you can take away for your community, for this community. It's going to be well and above whatever that investment is. Very exciting.
Well, we can't express enough how this isn't a normal conference. And you can see those comments coming through on socials as well. We've specifically designed it so it is a transformational and immersive experience. And, they can be big words that regional people don't necessarily like. Can't even believe that I said them myself, really.
That's right.
But you'll leave different, particularly after this is the conference dinner clue.
That's right. That's right. So we'll talk more about that next week. We will be releasing another video just explaining what that program's shaping up to be. As always, thank you very much for being on the journey with us. Always love feedback, comments, ideas, support, and look forward to doing this together with you all.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.